Hey, Algebra 2, I know that I didn't actually have to make a video last week because I already made a factoring video earlier on, but I'm back this week with a rationalizing video. So this is our last kind of new material for the year. We're gonna spend like 2 or 3 more weeks of new stuff, and then the last week and a half of school will be all catch up. Make sure that you're reading my weekly emails. There's lots of stuff, FAQs about grading and things like that. My goal is to get everybody passing. It'll cause you less headaches. It'll cost me less headaches. So let's go ahead and work hard on getting the best grade possible. I'm here to help you, not to hurt you. As you can tell, your grades have not dipped. If they have, it's been minute and it won't affect you in the end. Okay, but make sure that you're staying on top of your grades and really making sure that you're getting the highest grade possible, because it'll only help, guys. Okay, so let's talk about the last unit that we're going to talk about, which is rational equations. Okay, and we call this rationalizing when we do this with equations. So with rational equations, then we want to rationalize them. Okay, rationalize is the verb, rational equations is the noun. These are the type of equations we're going to rationalize them. Okay, so the first thing you want to do, you want to factor if possible. And remember to take out your greatest common factor. We talked about that in the factoring video last week, greatest common factors, but make sure you take out that greatest common factor, and then you want to cancel what you can. It's that easy. 2 steps to success. I've got 3 examples we're going to go over, okay? And we'll go from there. So the first one, this is pretty similar to what we were working on in logs. It was just like canceling. So I can't factor anything here, but I do have some canceling I can take place. This 3 and 6, well, that becomes 1 over 2. Those cancel. I have 3 x's on the bottom and 2 x's on top. So those cancel and leaves me with 1 x down here. Because there's 3 on the bottom, 2 on top, they would cancel out. I've got 3 a's on top and 1 a on the bottom. So that would leave me with 2 a's up top. Because there's 1 a down here. 3 minus 1 is 2. Okay? So this would be your answer for the first one. Pretty simple. Didn't have any factoring going on there at all, which is nice. Okay, the second one, this is more like rationalizing. Like, hey, I've got an equation on top and an equation on the bottom. What am I supposed to do with this? Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to factor this. So I'm going to factor this guy in red, and I'm going to notice that there's a greatest common factor of 3. So I'm going to pull the 3 out front, and I get 3 times x minus 2. Cool, so that's the top. Top becomes that. The bottom, I'm gonna factor here in blue, and I'm looking for factors of -2 that add to -1. So factors of -2 that add to -1 are going to be -2 and +1. Those multiply to -2, and those add to -1, because there's -1x. So this factors into x minus 2 and x plus 1. So there's the factoring there. Now the last step, now that I have this all factored, is I have to see what cancels. So I see that this has an x minus 2 here, and this has an x minus 2 here, so those cancel out, and my final answer would be 3 over x plus 1. That is called rationalizing. Okay, and we're going to move into an even harder example. This is probably about as hard as it'll get, unless I do some greatest common factor here. But once again, I'll start with the top. Kind of an interesting case here. This is a, can you get this? Are you getting it? Mm-hmm. This is a difference of squares. So factors of -4 that add to 0, because there's no x's, so that would be -2 and +2. Okay, so this top factors to x plus 2 and x minus 2. Okay, so there's the top. Go back to my blue. Factor this. I need factors of 12 that add to 8. Well, that would be 6 and 2. Factors of 12 that add to 8. So this factors into x plus 6 and x plus 2. You might notice, hey, McCrossan, we got a match. You are correct. All right. Boom, boom. Final answer, x minus 2 over x plus 6. Final answer. Those are 3 equations on rationalizing, okay? The only other equation that you might have would be something like this, where let's say maybe we have 4x minus, we'll say 20 on top, and we'll say, let's on the bottom, we'll go 5x squared minus 125. Okay, this would be like the ultimate hardest example. Well, I have to pull out my greatest common factor on top, which is 4. So this becomes 4 times x minus 5. Okay, can you hear me okay? Background noise not too bad. On the bottom here, I'm going to pull out my greatest common factor of 5. So I get 5 times x squared minus 25. Oh, well, I can factor that again. So now I got to do more factoring. And this actually becomes 5 times, well, factors of negative 25 that add to 0. That's your difference of squares again. So that'd be a positive 5 and a negative 5, because it adds to no x's, 0 x's. X plus 5, x minus 5. Once again, if you don't believe my factoring, maybe you're just a skeptic at home. You've just become very skeptical. You don't see me all the time, and you're like, this guy's just out of his mind. He has no idea what he's talking about anymore. I don't know if I have any idea what I'm talking about, but the math does check out. If I were to multiply this, I'd get back to that. If I were to multiply these together, I'd get back to that. Okay, so you can always multiply if you don't believe me, and you'll get back to the original equation. Okay, I'm not as sharp as I once was, but I'm as sharp once as I always was. You know what I'm saying? So here on top, I have the 4, and I have the x minus 5. All right, so you might notice, what do we have that cancels? I got the 2x minus 5s that cancel. My final answer, 4 over 5 times x plus 5. And you might say, McCrossin, do you want me to distribute this 5? No, please don't. Okay, it makes more work for you. It looks uglier. I like things simple, concise. I'm a minimalist, right? My wife just told me I'm boring. After a month with me, you might find me boring too. Just kidding, I'm lively every day. Okay, I hope you guys are staying safe out there. Get out and play some golf. Just a shameless plug for the golf team, looking for female golfers next year. So if you've ever thought about it, you know, don't have anything going on in the fall, it might be one of the only fall sports available, 6 feet apart. We can do that on the golf course. Lots of land, okay? But anyways, have a great day. Miss you guys a ton. I hope everyone's staying safe, and I'll check in with you guys next week. Later.
Show them the view. I don't have anything to say. Enjoy your day, kids.